Good afternoon. The committee meeting of the Natchitoches Parish School Board is now called to order. Thank you for being here this evening. I would like to remind you, if you have your cell phone turned on, to please silence it. We appreciate that. And Ms. Revels, could we have a roll call?
Mr. Danzy.
Here.
Mr. Matwire.
Here.
Mr. Benefiel.
Here.
Mr. Harris.
Present.
Mrs. McGaskey.
Here.
Ms. Palmer. Ms. Phelps.
Here.
Ms. Harvey.
Here.
Mr. Fredu.
Here.
Mr. Nicholson.
Here.
And Ms. Page.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you, Ms. Revels. Before we kick off the superintendent's report, we do have a quick visitor to the meeting, Mrs. Pam Pierce from Natchitoches Parish 4-H. She is here to make a presentation.
Hey, everyone. I just wanted to come in this afternoon and tell y'all thank you again for your amazing support for Natchitoches 4-H. We are truly on the map in Louisiana for Louisiana 4-H. We're currently serving about 1,200 students in club enrollment and about over 4,000 in enrichment opportunities. This summer, we are participating in 4-H camp, 4-H University. We're hosting a conservation day camp. We're doing something every week, and after our organized 4-H opportunities are over in July, at the end of July, we're taking 6 students to Ireland on an agriculture tour with Louisiana 4-H. So we have something to offer for everyone. And we've been super busy, and we couldn't do that without your support. So again, I want to say thank you. This year, Natchitoches 4-H was named the Louisiana Wildlife Federation Youth Organization of the Year for conservation. So Miss Amanda Clark and I went down to Baton Rouge to accept that on behalf of our organization. We're gearing up for Louisiana 4-H's premier contest at LSU, which is called 4-H University, and we're taking 30 students to compete. And we're highly competitive, and we're super excited about that opportunity. I just wanted to take a minute to tell you all that, but that's not really why I'm here. I'm really here because on behalf of Louisiana 4-H, I'd like to congratulate Dr. Eloy for being honored as the 2025 4-H School Superintendent Award recipient. Dr. Eloy's dedication, leadership, and continued support of 4-H have made a lasting impact, and we're thrilled to recognize him with this state honor. Every 4-H agent in all 64 parishes had the opportunity to nominate their superintendent, and we nominated ours. And congratulations, Dr. Eloy. Dr. Eloy will be formally recognized during the Wednesday night assembly on June 18th in the Pete Maravich Assembly Center as part of 4-H University celebration, and I'll send you that email. I just found out Friday that you received this award, so I'm super excited, and I thought it would be special to present it in front of the board.
Yes, ma'am, and I appreciate it. I was actually wondering, I said she wasn't on the agenda, so I didn't know what this
It was
was.
a surprise. We're going to take a photo with you, Ms. Pierce.
Thank you.
Yes.
And by the way, I see the Student of the Year recipients, and now there's no scientific data to prove this, but most of these kids are 4-Hers, so do the math.
You're in Reba's district.
Yes, they're in my district.
Congratulations, and I'll send you the information about the reception.
Thank you, Ms. Pierce. We appreciate your presentation.
Thank y'all, and have a good evening.
You too. Thank you.
Great surprise.
Yeah, cool.
Right, so complete surprise. You knew nothing about it, and it is a state honor. So we're very proud of you, and thank you for your efforts with 4-H.
Yes, ma'am, thank you.
Okay.
So would you like me to do the superintendent report now?
Well, one more surprise. No, I'm kidding. Go ahead.
Okay, so I have a few quick updates, but before we honor our students, then also find out about a summer camp that's coming to us. I want to start off, I'm not going to take Mr. Shirley's thunder. I'm going to simply say that the move is going excellent, and I'll leave it at that and let him talk about it. Also want to talk about placement of folks from the schools that have closed down. All that, 99.9% of that has taken place. There's a few people that we're still working with, but for the most part, that has gone extremely smooth. So credit to teaching and learning, credit to HR department. It's just gone really well. Another thing that started this week is summer school. Summer school is going really well. I got a report from Miss Jennifer Martin yesterday. Said very smooth start. Also wanted to update y'all on that Act 422, those students in 3rd grade who would go to summer school if they weren't at a certain level of reading based on the Dibble screener. And we are excited to tell you, I think 2 months ago, we told you there was 140 kids who were at risk of going to summer school. With the help of our schools, but specifically with the help of our reading interventionists, we knocked that down to only 15 students in the entire district had to go to summer school because of Act 422. And our belief and hope is they're going to go through summer school, take that screener again, and we won't have any students who are retained based on that. But we still have to make it through the next 11 school days to remediate them again. But that is a huge shift from where we were a few months ago when I first informed y'all of that. Some exciting news you may have read in the Advocate today that the class of 2024 ACT scores are in for the state. We grew again, and what I mean by that is we have grown on our ACT score every year since 2021. So we grew 0.3 of a point. We are not where we want to be, but to say that we've grown every year for 4 years is an exciting thing and a tribute to our educators and, of course, our students. Also wanted to inform the board, last month you voted on the retirement incentive. That ran its course in, I think, the span of 3 days, and that is complete, and we did achieve the objectives in that plan. And then finally, I will be at Teacher Leader next week. I will be at a superintendent session on Monday, so I'll be here only half day. And then Tuesday I'll be presenting on the coherence cohort with LDOE. And so I will not be at the meeting. This happens once every couple of years. I already talked to Ms. Reba about it, but because of the light agenda, we should be okay. But also Ms. Kanika will not be here, so Mr. Kozad will be running the meeting. But we should be able to get everything in line for that. But I know I'm supposed to inform y'all of that. So
Yes.
that concludes everything I have, and I'll throw it over to Ms. Reba because she has some folks she'd like to introduce about a fun camp we have coming to us.
Yes, thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we have with us Mr. Harold Bayon and Dr. Ross Williams, and they are presenting a STEAM camp for explorers this summer. We're very excited about this initiative. It will be held on one of our campuses, and they are going to come forth and talk about this amazing opportunity for youth in our parish. So, Mr. Bayon, if you could make your way to the podium.
Good evening. I'm Harold Bayon, Chairman of the Natchitoches Community Improvement Foundation. I want to say hello to the Superintendent, Manager, Finance Director Lee Wascom, and the Natchitoches Parish School Board, and the citizens that's here. We got in partnership. We want to have a summer program to talk about drug awareness, cigarette smoking, vaping, violence. They want to teach youngsters. And we joined with another foundation, the Miss Ross Williams Foundation, which Dr. Ross would come and tell you later. And they have a high-tech program, and you can see it on your flyers, that teach kids on the, just above the grade what they'll learn. And we partnership with them in order to get this done. Our organization views our mission as in partnership with the Natchitoches Parish School Board. And we are more than grateful and thank you for the spirit of cooperation that we found. We're very thankful. So at this time, accept our grateful thanks and our hope that you all will visit our program at the L.P. Vaughn School to observe the good that we're trying to do and bring to reality in our community. Natchitoches is in dire need of character building for our youth. Educational extension programs in our locale that we believe this program will help build this town and make it better for the future. We cannot say thank you enough to the members of the Natchitoches Parish School Board for the tangible and intangible contributions that we have received for this forward movement of this pilot program. I'm going to say we're thankful again. I look forward to working with you all in the future. I hope this partnership continues, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Bayon.
Sir.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
It's good to see you all again. For those of you, if you remember, about a year ago, I had an opportunity to present to you all about the STEAM Collaborative. And it's very fortunate that we've had the opportunity to partner with the foundation, along with you all allowing us to utilize the space for this particular program. We look forward to the innovation, the creativity as a part of this program. The Emma Robinson Williams Education Foundation, as you know, is in honor of our late mother, Emma Robinson Williams, who was a school board employee for over 40 years for Natchitoches Parish School System. So this is wonderful that we get an opportunity to support and give back to the community. We are doing a pilot program. Its focus is going to be on about 50 students. Those ages or grades ranges from 4 to 8. And we're going to utilize that data to make informed decisions as it relates to how we're going to move forward next year. More specifically, it's going to empower them not only with a STEAM focus, but also we're incorporating financial literacy. We partner with BOM that are actually going to come out and instruct them on various aspects around financial literacy. Because we're in hopes after they get through looking at drones, flying drones, coding, and so forth, they may be entrepreneurs in the near future. So we thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for the facility, and we look forward to the desired outcomes.
Dr. Williams, quick question. Have you had very many kids sign up yet?
We have a waiting list.
Oh, that's great.
That's a powerful thing, absolutely.
Yes.
And one of the mandates is this, and we share this with the parents as well and the scholars that are going to participate. It's required that you're there every day. If you happen to miss a day, then we're going to rotate those off of the waiting list into that program. We need the commitment that they're there for those particular 3 weeks. So we're really excited about that.
Wonderful. Thank
Any
you
other
so
questions?
much. Any other questions?
How were the participants made aware of the application?
It was definitely through social media platforms. Of course, the board did an excellent job communicating. I have a high social media platform profile as well, and I have people that have shared it all over. And I think the reputation of the foundation itself, we have a phenomenal primetime program that we've implemented even in Natchitoches, but also now in Shreveport as well. So I think the reputation alone has encouraged people to apply.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
For our work we've done thus far.
Thank you. Okay. So next on the superintendent's report, we have some very excited kids with us today, the students of the year. So Miss Anita, were you going to come and tell us a little bit about this year's recipients? Yeah, talk.
As always, this is the most favorite thing that I do up here. The most favorite part of my duties is honoring these very special kids. And thank all of you parents for being here. I really appreciate it, and I'm happy to see you all. Before we present the awards and certificates, I want to thank my judges, my panel of judges who every year come up here for 2 and 3 days out of their busy schedules and volunteer to help me. And over the years, they've been very consistent. Miss Reba, Miss Linda, the two of them in the room right now, and I can't tell you how much I've appreciated that over the years. Also, would like to thank my sponsors, BOM, Miss Reba and Miss Catrice Below especially, because they contribute a lot to it, and Pizza Hut. Thank you, Lee, for hooking me up with Pizza Hut. They have provided some gift certificates, which I think the kids will enjoy. And lastly, I want to thank Miss Raina. Where are you, Raina? She put all the certificates together for me. She's going to help me pass out the gift certificates in just a second. So without further ado, are you guys ready to get out here and do the awards? All right. Dr. Elo, would you help me?
I heard a few board members say yes when you asked that question, too.
Take the mic with you.
They can't hear you on the.
on TV.
Okay. So, as you all know, we have
Whenever they-
3 divisions. We have the 5th grade division, then we have the 8th grade division, and the 12th grade division. So every school, they go through a process, and they nominate through a procedure, a process, a student of the year for that particular school. Then they're interviewed by my panel of judges. They have to do a portfolio, which are scored by the judges. And some of these judges are brutal, I'm telling you.
And I'm not one of those brutal judges.
No,
I'm
no,
soft.
you're not, Reba. But anyway, and so then we come up at the district level, then we choose 3 overall winners, 1 in each division. So tonight we're going to honor every single one of you, and then we'll honor the 3 winners, overall winners. Okay, so we'll start with 5th grade. The first one here is Miss Avery Broadway from Provençal Elementary School. 5th grade. I think she called today and said she was not going to be able to make it. So, from East, Miss Gracie Lawrence. From Natchitoches Magnet School, Christopher Norwood. Christopher, come get your pizza thing. Thank you.
And if you'll stay at the front, we'll take a group photo. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Fairview Alpha, Danley Owiki. Okay, NSU Elementary Lab School, Owen Penrod, and oh, you made it. Okay, good. Marthville Elementary, Emerson Remedies. Goldana Elementary, Lanny Todd. Don't believe she's... That's the 5th graders. Now we'll go on to the 8th graders. Lakeview Junior High School, Essence Adams. Natchitoches Junior High School, Genesis Conde. Natchitoches Magnet, Alex McDonald. NSU Middle Lab, Addison McGrath. I don't think she's going to make it. Goldana, Zalian Paul. Martheville, Anno Rawls. In Provençal, Joshua Simmons. Okay, now for the seniors from Natchitoches Central and Lakeview. Natchitoches Central High School, Aliyah Bostian. And I'm sorry, I'm sure I mispronounced that. Lakeview High School, Coley Killingsworth. Okay, so now we're going to honor our overall winners. All of you are winners, don't get me wrong. We're so proud of all of you. Let's give them all a big Unfortunately, we could only pick one in each category, but I promise you it was very, very close in many of the cases. But so our overall elementary 5th grade student of the year, Emerson Remedies from Marthaville Elementary School. This was the year of the Hawks, right? Marthaville Hawks. This was the year of the Hawks. The 8th grade student of the year from Marthaville High School, Anna Rawls. And our 12th grade student of the year, Miss Bashian from Natchitoches Central High School. I didn't even try it that time. Okay, congratulations to every single one of you. We are so proud. Well, sure.
Yeah, can we, how many we got? Just 4 of y'all come right over here. 4, yeah, there we go. One more. All right, y'all scoot in a little tighter, like you like each other.
All right, on 3. 1, 2, I'm still snapping. Smile. 2. That's it.
Congratulations, y'all.
Ms. DuBois, Ms. Anita, we want to thank you for your years of service to this endeavor. You have been the backbone of this whole endeavor. We appreciate your hard work, and we know that this is probably your last year working with the kids. Ms. Anita is getting ready to retire, and we cannot thank you enough for all of your dedication. And this just means you have to come back as a judge now.
And I know I get the judges back. I don't have a problem getting the judges back, I don't think. All right, well, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so this moves us on to our informational reports. And we'll start with a child nutrition update, Mrs. Hicks.
Good evening, everyone. I guess the most recent news is that we are off to a good start with summer school at all 4 sites. Everything's up and running well, and everybody's getting breakfast and lunch for summer school. According to my records and Mr. Wascom's records, we ended the year in the black as well, so that is always a very positive thing to report. My last tally has us at about $3.2 million in revenues this year. So it was a successful year. I'm also happy to report that we are fully staffed for next year. So as you know, we were able to consolidate some positions, but we didn't have to lose any positions. So I was very happy about that. Everybody has a spot, and I think most everyone is happy in their assignment. So unless you have questions for me, that's a wrap.
Okay. Thank you, Mrs. Hicks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next informational report comes from the Maintenance Department, Mr. Ryan Shirley.
Good evening, guys.
Good evening.
As you can see from our report, we've still been a little busy on the maintenance side, but the most important thing, just to give you a rundown of the move and the way it's going. East Natchitoches is completely done. 5th grade is at Weaver. 6th grade has been moved to the new junior high. We are on to Magnet now. Magnet is completely done for as the classrooms. All we have left is the main office to have them done. In the process of this, not only have we been moving, we've been waxing, painting, the whole 9 yards. So we're moving a lot faster than we thought we would, but we've had a lot of help. So hopefully Monday we will be over to junior high, moving the junior high to Magnet. So after that, we're hoping to be the following week at Goldana to make that happen. And if we can, we will get this entire move done in a month.
That's incredible.
Any questions? All right, thank y'all.
Thank you, Mr. Shirley.
I would like to add is you can go sit down because I'm going to say something nice about you. I called him on Memorial Day, and he was stressed for good reason. But these first 2 moves were supposed to happen in 14 to 21 days, and they're almost complete in the span of 6 days. So that's a credit to him and his team and their organization, and also we want to thank the principals and the teachers for getting us really prepared.
That's the most important part, is the teachers done their job and they have everything labeled.
And if anyone asks you, they're getting 1 day of pay for helping with the move, but that won't be paid out until July, correct, Mr. Wascom? So it is going to happen. We just have to get all the documents in and then pay in July.
Good deal. Mr. Fady.
Mr. Ryan, thank you for all y'all done to get Lakeview ready for graduation. And mower at Lakeview. Have you been? All right. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. The next informational report is transportation. Mr. Baptiste.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
All right, I'm happy to report that we successfully completed the school year. That sounds like something simple, but it's actually, every time you do one of these things, it's actually something to be spoken about that is an accomplishment. We maintained a safe, reliable service across all of our routes. We supported schools with consistent on-time arrivals and responsive operations. What I'd like to add here is that the issue of on-time is going to be one of the things that we're looking at and focusing on this summer. Although I think we did a decent job from what I saw at the end of the year, it's an area that I think that we can improve on, and we'll be focusing our operations to do just that. Our summer operations plan, we wanted our summer routes to mirror ones from the previous year. We wanted to do that for not only for efficiency but for continuity. We focused it was done to focus on minimizing disruptions, and we've seen that in our phone calls. From the ones that I've taken, everyone seems to be familiar with what we did last year. We've put drivers and we've added monitors to make sure that all the routes are covered. We've also had a couple of updates from the ones that were published. I think we've communicated that to folks that needed to. We're looking at anything that may change should all equal out by the end of the week. So if there's anything that would change or could possibly change, we'd be making sure that we notify everyone of that. Our current priorities. We've just completed a pretty comprehensive special needs training for both our drivers and our monitors. We're actually in the process of an intensive onboarding of drivers. We've got currently drivers in training. We're doing our preventative maintenance and fleet readiness for next year. Again, we're actually actively recruiting to fill our openings. As we look forward to next year, we'll be starting to look at our fall routes probably within the next week. So once we've got this week out of the way, we'll be looking at how we're going to be running our routes next year, starting next week. We continue to build a good pipeline of trained drivers. I'm adding some internal audits to improve our internal efficiency. And we'll be doing some things over the summer to engage with the public, just to show, who we are and what we're about. That's what I've got. Any questions?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
First year of our app with our own online, on time. What feedback, positive and negative, have you and superintendent received?
So I would defer to Mr. Baptiste because since it started that first month, I haven't heard anything, positive or negative. That first month there was a little bit of probably troubleshooting of it lags a little bit. When they change the driver, we have to be on top of that, which Mr. Kozad very much is in conjunction with Echo. But it's been radio silence, so. I don't know if that's good news or bad news.
Right, I'd echo what Dr. Eloy said. I've not really heard a lot from that. Actually, I've not heard any.
I would say that's good news.
I think so too, Mr. Denzi.
Has Mr. Kozad heard anything?
I occasionally receive phone calls with parents mentioning that routes aren't correct. They're seeing their bus on the map, and it's not actually at that location. I work with them to quickly to correct the situation and make sure they're tracking the right bus. Reaching out to the transportation department, specifically Miss Felicia Washington down there has been very helpful with that. So issues do arise every now and then, but we tend to get them fixed rather quickly, and the parents that bring those to our attention, we thank them, and they seem to be accepting of those answers and justifications.
Sounds like a good fix.
So is there anything we need to add or take away or tweak, make things better?
There could be some tweaks, and I think this is a conversation that I'd like to have with the transportation department, especially now that it's under new leadership, and kind of off the record and talk about ways that we could, maximize that there are no issues at all moving forward and get ready for the new year. Anytime that we can minimize the amount of buses that breaks down and the drivers change, obviously that's better for any sort of tracking system, but I realize that a lot of those situations are outside of the control of normal day operations.
And we might see some of that start up and fall with the hot weather and air conditioners and things like that. So
Right.
it's always an issue.
Just keeping lines of communication open between transportation and technology, and knowing that, reach back and forth. And if there's a last minute change, just give us a call and we can make it updated in the app almost instantaneously.
So I received some complaints in regards to overcapacity in some of the buses. I hope that has been resolved.
I'd certainly be interested in any of those complaints that you may have.
I definitely will contact you regarding that because it was considered to be a major issue. I would think that it was a major issue at the time.
Absolutely. That lends to safety, which is a major concern.
And so the other thing is in reference to the air conditioning. I know that was a problem last year, so we see some resolution with that for this year.
All of our buses are air conditioned, so I don't see any issues that should occur from that. The ones that we've got coming are air conditioned as well, so there shouldn't be any issues moving forward.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Baptiste. We appreciate you. Our next informational report is the personnel report, Mrs. Linda Page. And I have to say, this is the longest report I've seen in quite a while. It's a 3-pager, a 2-pager, 2 full pages. But Miss Linda, let's see here. Don't. Okay.
I saw it and it scared me. I jumped. Well, we've made it to the end of another year, and it's been a good long run in many ways. I want to thank you for all the support you all have given me over the years. I never thought that a little girl from Mansfield would have been afforded the opportunities that NPSB has afforded me. Thank you.
We appreciate you very, very much.
Yes, ma'am.
And I don't think I'm alone in offering you a round of applause. We appreciate you very much. Okay, are there any questions on the personnel report for Mrs. Page?
How many years, Ms. Page, you added these retirements? No, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about all of them from A to V.
Wow, that's incredible. We appreciate you very much. Thank you. Our next informational report, Mr. Wascom, sales tax report.
I have good news. I'm really happy. Sales taxes in the month of May, collections were up 8.03%. Speaking with Laura Jeff Coate, we were thinking that some of the impact would start hitting us with what happened with in Campty. It has not yet as far as sales tax collections, but overall, I think we're going to end our year up. I still have a zero growth for this next month, which is the last month of the year. There's no way to get it to below zero, so we should be. We will end the year up, and I'm really happy about that.
That is great news. Are there any questions for Mr. Wascom? Okay. Budget report, item F, Mr. Wascom.
Okay. Okay, well, this budget for general fund, I remember last year thinking out, why is it the general fund budget and everything is where it is? And the reason is, I finally figured out, we moved a lot of expenses and certain revenues over to fund for the Goldana. Remember that? Because it picked up a lot of operation stuff. So I actually have numbers sitting over my desk of how much we actually, the numbers are quite comparable to last year. It's showing $3.5 million in surplus at this time, and this year 2.9, but the actual number is 3.5 and 3.2 million. The difference was that I had forgotten to move all the expenses that were necessary to zero out the Goldana, because I had not moved all the personnel expenses into that, which is what was required of that. At the end of this year, the Goldana special revenues will be at zero. The expenses and the revenues will equal zero. So there will be nothing left at that point, which is what it was designed to do. It was designed to supplement general fund to cover that. So with that said, I am now happy with the numbers as you see them here.
Okay, any questions for Mr. Wascom?
I'm happy about as well. I'll second what Shauna said about the child nutrition is showing a positive this year. I'm very happy about that. Title I, and of course, ESSER 3 is wrapped up. Formula. ESSER 3 formula funds.
So will that eventually fall off?
Yeah, I was just going to, the number in the column of last year is still rolling forward, but I just, in total comparison, I kind of need guidance from the board what else y'all would like to have listed on here, because right now all we have is these three basic things. The title funds, I mean, I guess I could put SPED on here to see where things are going with SPED, because we are going to roll ESSER 3, the ESSER funds off entirely. So when I'm presenting the budget, y'all have to understand we have about 78 different budget line items. General fund, the ones that we are mentioning are the big ones, and the ones that are really controllable is obviously the general fund. Most of them are federal or state grants where we spend exactly what we get in reimbursement. So what I'm doing here is just kind of carrying on something that was here before me, but giving y'all general fund, child nutrition, Title I, but I think I should help to maybe SPED, show you where SPED is as well. I can replace that if y'all would like next month, if y'all would like that.
So to date, that's nothing, we haven't had that on the report before. Is that something you're interested in, board members?
But we don't need ESSER, as you say, is redundant.
Yeah,
so
right.
Might as well add it.
Okay.
It's usually one of the big areas of spending.
Yes, I think that's a great idea for us to get that information. SPED Ed.
Yeah. Just to let you, it is a federal program, so the revenues and expenses will always kind of equal zero when it's all done, but at least it gives you a feel of how much money is being spent.
Right. Thank you.
Sure. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Wascom. Item number 5 on the agenda, Mrs. Palmer.
5 finance. 5A, discuss and consider changes to next parish school board 25-26 salary schedule to take effect July 1st, 2025.
Okay, the current salary schedule in place is only being modified by these areas that are highlighted in yellow. We have found that we would like to kind of make the school board minimum wage $10 an hour. You can't hire anybody for less than that. I'm sorry, that's just the nature of the market of the thing. So we're going to try to be consistent and hire. Basically, y'all see where it's $10 an hour all the way down. We added some things that we had never had before. Remember, y'all made some changes with crossing guards and adding all that? Well, we had to make a certain amount per hour for crossing guards, and we had this thing, a certified nursing assistant. We did not have any of that down, so that was that change right there. That's in the hourly area. The let me go to page 7 here. This was a change recommended to us about if you are working in the business department, essentially, and you have an accounting degree, you would advance one column from where you normally qualify. Y'all know what I mean? You go one column. If you have an accounting degree and a CPA, which clearly if you have a CPA degree, you have an accounting degree. But if you have a CPA, you go one additional column, okay? That's what this is. This page here. We had not had any provision for a multiplier at central office for a 10-month employee, but we have had cases where, particularly over in federal programs, where that happens. So I wanted to put this on the list here. That's the only change to this page here, which is central office administration multipliers. But always, as usual, the most complicated one tends to be we had no provision in our our salary schedule for the junior ROT instructors' pay. I don't know if y'all know how this works, but the Army and the Air Force send out a number, and that's how much you pay these people, and they provide 50% funding, okay? However, if you have an extraordinarily large class of cadets, it is a lot more effort on that group. And so years ago, we were having troubles apparently at Natchitoches Central recruiting for the ROTC program. We were talking to, is it Mr. Bailey? Is that who's currently there? Speaking to Mr. Bailey, and there would be a 20% multiplier if there's 85 cadets or more as of the October 1 count. A point of clarification is that NSU, the MOU we have with NSU, where we pay their extra pay and they just reimburse us. I wanted to clarify here, I just kind of put the word yearly in the last one. Here I wanted to say you get half of it in December and half of it in May. You get half of this number here. If you have a BS degree, you get $950 divided by 2 in December and the other half in May. That was not clear, and I didn't want it to become a point of contention. And those are the only changes that I have to present.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Wascom?
Okay. Thank you.
5B, consider approving 2025-2026 Youth Volunteer School District Grant. Ms. Ingram?
several years, and it continues to grow. We are actually, my apologies for not waiting to talk at the mic. This is a grant that we have through the Rapides Foundation. This is our service learning grant. We are adding another school this year to this grant. The Magnet School will be joining this grant this year. And it's just, it's a great grant for our kids to have, and they really enjoy it. So, any questions?
What are some of the things that the grants offer to children?
Well, actually, the schools get to decide what they want to do for their service learning. One of the ones that the schools actually enjoy, NJH helps with the Weavers Easter egg hunt. They've done the Reading on the River. They have a booth down there. Different schools have done that. They help with canned food drives. The groups will go and help at the fair when the little kids go to the fair, and they're like the chaperones or whatever and take kids to the fair. We do reading groups where they've gone and I know that NSU Middle Lab went and did went to the CDC and did like reading day with them, but then they like all played on the playground as well and rode the trikes. And so they've done that. MPTCC actually went to Families Helping Families in Shreveport and put on their Christmas party. They've done nursing home things. They've gone to adult daycare and helped with their Christmas party, our Easter party. Those are the types of things, and Rapides Foundation pays for all of the supplies. They've done things in-house where like they've sent things to the troops and did like cards to the troops or cards to the nursing homes. And so it's and they get community service hours, which they can also put on their diplomas, endorsements.
That's invaluable. Thank you so much for coordinating that.
Mm-hmm.
These are high school, just high school?
No, ma'am. It's actually grades 7 through 12 can participate. So it is at Lakeview, Natchitoches Central, NPLC, Middle Lab, NJH, and this year it'll be at Magnet. So I think that's all, well, yeah, all the city schools, I guess. Yeah.
It's an annual grant that's.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And the coordinators get a stipend. In fact, this year their stipend went up. I don't want to, it's over $2,000, so.
Incredible. Thank you so much. Ms. Palmer?
The next grant, consider approving 2025-26 Healthy Behaviors Grant.
This is an actual grant that we've had since about 2008, so it's been around a while. And there's multiple facets to this grant, and this is in all of our schools, and it's K through 12. This includes your vaping prevention grant, your Catch Curriculum grant, which is your PE grant, which they provide PE curriculum and PE equipment. They bought $3,000 worth of equipment for every school last year. And then they'll supply $500 this year in like restocking it. Catch, they have youth health, they can't change the names on me every year, I think. We have, it's basically like healthy wellness type grant, basically, that we have. So there's about 5 different programs that fall under this grant. That's why it's so much for $70,000.
Thank you so much. Any questions for Ms. Ingram?
Could some of it be used for telehealth?
No, ma'am.
Totally.
They're very particular about what it goes to, and it can only go to that, and sometimes we don't spend all of our money because it is that strategic on what you can spend it on. It cannot go to anything but what they outline as.
Thank you. That concludes finance.
Thank you, Ms. Palmer. Item number 7 on the agenda, executive report, Russ Dancy.
7A, discuss and consider changes to school start and end times. Mr. Benfield?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Every year we talk about how we're putting kids on the bus so early, but we're not changing anything else. I mean, we continue to talk about it. And this year, this coming up school year may be too late because of our master schedules and what's already in place, because that's in place for next year. But I would like us to spend this next year looking at what we possibly can do with start times, stagger start times, and when we start picking up children on the bus and when school takes in. We have some schools that take in very early. We have some that take in a little bit later. I was at the end of a road that I live on, and there was a child sitting underneath the stop sign in the road, broad daylight. And I just thought, what if that child was sitting underneath that stop sign in the dark, waiting on that bus because the grass was wet? And now we're not going to, by these start and stop times, we're not going to change the sun coming up or the sun going down. But what it can do is hopefully prevent some of these long days that some of these children are experiencing, and maybe make this a better experience all the way around. Now, this is not a cure-all. It's not going to make everybody happy. But I think we need to look into it and quit talking about it, and let's actually take some action.
It's ironic that conversation came up because I think Chad and I had a brief conversation with Mr. Baptiste, and he wants to get on that because we've never actually done anything about what we know is occurring, especially these children who are way out, whether it's Reedhammer or wherever the place may be, and having to come in to, whether it's Lakeview or Niagara Central from way out in Marthville or whatever the case may be. These kids are on these buses long periods of time,
So I did speak to Mr. Benfield. Reached out to me, and I spoke to Echo. Echo, I don't want to speak for Mr. Baptiste, but in our conversation, they are open to that conversation. In fact, kind of excited about it. The problem for us right now is we have completed master schedules, and to be honest, when Mr. Benfield first reached out to me, I thought it was a simpler endeavor myself. And then I talked to teaching and learning and all the directors. And as much as I know about master scheduling, I was not aware of the complexity with which this was going to impact those master schedules, specifically because at the elementary level in middle school, we were trying to get that 90-minute ELA in math block. Your students have to have a minimum of 385 minutes a day. That does not include lunch, recess, and passing periods. When you add all that together and try to still get those 90 minutes, it was going to blow up everyone's master schedules that they just finished the past 2 months creating. So what I think we could commit to easily is this being something that, I don't want to say study, because study is a fancy word of saying let's put it off, but I think it's something we could easily do for the 26-27 school year if given the ability to work with those master schedules with this in mind, instead of doing it in the reverse, which is completing master schedules and then totally redoing them again for this endeavor, if that makes sense.
And when we was talking about with the bus, putting out our new contract, I called several of the districts and was asking them how do they do their bus routes and how they do, if they own their bus or they lease it. And a couple of parishes say that they changed their time and they even actually cut back on their bus route because a lot of like in-town routes that close, that the buses was making two routes. Like one bus was going just maybe pick up first route, pick up all high school, go back and pick up all elementary. And it cut out, and one parish told me it cut out like 15 buses that they cut it. He said they didn't realize just the change in that time, how much money it saved them for not having them in the bus routes.
That was our initial conversation too.
So I reached out to the superintendents. We have that group text, and I reached out to them. And it was almost 100% had some sort of differential timing for different schools. They were split on, some had high schools picking up earlier, some had them picking up late, just depending on their preference. But pretty much everyone had some sort of difference, with the exception being the super, super small school parishes where there's like, an elementary, middle, and high school that they're all a combo anyway.
Or somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're in June right now, and you mentioned they've been working on master schedule for 2 months. So what would be a good timeline, Mr. Benefield and Dr. Eloy, to study this and come up with a concrete plan one way or the other?
So what I think could happen, and I'm open to whatever everyone else, is the board kind of give an outline of what you would like to see, and then the curriculum team can look at what changes would have to be made to master schedules, and then kind of a back and forth kind of dynamic. Like, y'all say, hey, this is what we want. We bring it to the curriculum team, and then they say, okay, we can do this, this, and this, but this is what I've learned with this process is for every benefit you're going to get, you're going to lose something. And so we can start now going back and forth for that 26-27 school year, and then that will allow the schools, when they start really working on these master schedules, some of them will start as early as, late February or March.
Okay.
They'll know what their parameters are by that time. So I feel like that bus committee,
Yeah.
that could be something they work on throughout the entire year.
And that needs to go out with the bid too. Yeah, that there will be potentially a staggered start time with schools. But what I don't want to see is, especially these elementary schools, lose their recess. These kids need those recess times. I mean, they do.
Well, and that's, as you look at this, some of our folks, whether it be parents, students, or staff, want an earlier start. Some want a later start. When you do the later start, and you have staggers, sometimes you're gonna have siblings who aren't with each other based on age. Then there's also the extracurricular activity. So all of this is kind of a balancing act of what you want and what you don't want, and what you want to lose and what you don't want to lose.
And board members, the closer you are to a school, the more calls you're going to get from teachers and principals. But don't lose sight of what we really need to do is make sure we're taking care of school children.
That's it.
My concern is the younger children and having to be up and out, and I understand that has to do with the time that school starts, and parents are accustomed to a certain time because they're dropping off, or the bus schedule is dependent on the bus schedule. So my concern is, and then it's in the city, I've heard complaints about the kids having to be up early to catch the bus. There are certain stops that they don't make in certain neighborhoods where kids have to walk a good distance. And so we need to be concerned about, especially those little children. And I know that sometimes you're saying about siblings being on the same route, because some of the buses have to make, more than one route. But he said that is supposed to be resolved. Of course, we know we're looking at some other options. So my concern is just making sure that these little children are going to be safe.
Well,
So much happening now.
And it's interesting, Ms. McGuess, because I have parents who don't want the different ages on the same bus, because they're like, I don't want my 5-year-old on a bus where.
I'm totally in agreement with that.
Yes, ma'am. But then I also have parents who say, yes, but my junior in high school, I want them on the bus with my third grader.
Especially if they have to walk to a
Exactly.
pickup spot, and they got their 8th grader walking there.
And then I will tell you,
You lose that.
developmentally too, although I'm the same way. It's like, it's weird to put a 6-year-old on a bus at 7 a.m. or 6:30 or even earlier. But developmentally, what they tell us, and if you have a teenager, you know this, that they should start later. Because, if I don't wake up my 13-year-old, she doesn't wake up till 2 o'clock, and apparently they do need that.
Well, Miss Page and I both received calls from different parents and different people this year. One in particular, it was kind of an odd. They used to pick my granddaughter up at 6:40, and now they're picking them up at 12 minutes after 6. What's the difference? Suddenly there's a 30-minute swing. And we're talking about East Natchitoches, you know, right across from East. We're not talking about in Alaska. I mean,
Well, and I will say this: we, to some degree, we are handcuffing Echo, because when I first came here, I remember there was so much fussing 5 years ago, and it was because the previous administration had said that all siblings, regardless of their school, had to ride together, and that created havoc in terms of the schedule. We got rid of that; it got much better, but now kind of the same thing. If we released Mr. Baptiste to be able to have a really dynamic staggered start, he could probably be exponentially more efficient. But unfortunately, we just have to make sure that in doing that we don't burn ourselves in another area.
there will be growing pains, yes.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think there are pros and cons for both, and thankfully, we're starting early enough in the process where we have plenty of time to discuss all of those pros and cons and put together a good plan for it.
And at the end of the day, come back to what Lee said, the children. It's about the children.
That's a priority.
So the bus committee consists of Emil Matuire, Russ Danzy, Billy Benefield, and Reba Phelps. Are y'all okay with that makeup? Okay. So there's definitely a lot to unpack here. I'm looking forward to working with you guys on it. So, Mr. Benefield, could you let us know at your convenience when is a good time to meet or start, and we'll let you lead the way on that?
Well, we have some follow-up from our initial meeting. The superintendent is going to be touch and go for the next 2 weeks because of schedule.
Probably the next month.
Actually, the next 3 weeks. June's bad.
I was looking at something like Monday at 1, but that's so let's look at July.
Okay.
So let's get together offline and put something together.
And I'll invite some representatives from the teaching and learning department to kind of, if it's just me in there, then I'm going to say, oh, this is going to be great, and then they're going to come back and pop me upside the head. So I'll have them in there with us to guide that process together.
That's an excellent idea. And so what we'll do going forward, too, is include this information at our next committee meetings every month until we come up with a resolution. If that's okay with you, Mr. Benefield. Okay.
Absolutely. It's out in front of us now, and we're moving. So that's great.
Perfect.
I would like to be a part of that committee
Okay.
also.
No, we don't want you.
Volunteering, Mr. Matuire.
Ms. McGaskey, I have you officially inked in. You are good. Emil Matuire, Russ Danzy, Billy Benefield, Reba Phelps, and Dorothy McGaskey. So 5 of us.
It's difficult for me and Mr. Matuire to work together. That's
Okay.
why he's objecting.
All right, Mr. Danzy.
Item 7B, discuss and consider updating student fight policy. Ms. Page.
I know that's the favorite thing we want to talk about. Sorry, Ms. Ingram. I'm really concerned about not just the level of fights that we're having at school, but the premeditated fights that we're having. I'm afraid that kids are not worried about the consequences of just going to the alternative school. I feel like we have, I'm not going to say that we have slackened up, because I know we just went a little bit harder on our consequences, but back in the day, of course, we used to have kids detained, removed from campus. None of that's being done now. I would like that to be considered or discussed. I'm trying to think of some of the other things. Kids are fighting at a younger age. Originally, my thought process was just high school, but now I'm hearing more and more that it's even the younger. At what age are they really, are we going to make a difference with trying to intervene with this? Those are some of my biggest concerns. I know we had a few, we had a teacher that was hit and their charges weren't pressed by the teacher or by us. I don't understand why that's not being done. I mean, I have more questions, I guess, than I have discussion. Or what kind of policy changes could we have that could try to eliminate some of this fighting? I mean, kids feel safe to come to school to fight because they feel like somebody's going to break them up. But what's going to happen if somebody really gets injured at school? again, and we have a whole nother process.
I think the alternative school is relied on a lot, and it's not doing its job. I think, like she said, the kids, they go there, and it's no big deal to them, and they come back to, their respective school, and nothing really changes. How can we get stricter and do things that make a difference and make them change? Because we know, we've talked about it, we don't want them out on the street, but eventually there has to be a line drawn somewhere, and something has to be done, because eventually they're not changing and they're not going to change, but then they're affecting the kids who are trying to do right and trying to do the right thing. Or eventually there's going to be an innocent bystander who's going to get really hurt when they were just walking down the hall or trying to go to the bathroom and they did nothing wrong and was no part of a fight. And I don't know if it's getting with our, with our district attorney and law enforcement and stuff, because I know they say they have no place for these kids and things like that. But I mean, something's got to be done, because I don't think what we're doing is affecting them and changing their mind. And I mean, maybe some of them it is. I'm sure some, when they go to alternative school, they don't want to go back, but the majority.
So speaking of the alternative school, I think one of the issues, to your point, is that there was no formal process necessarily for, okay, I go there, but that was really the punishment. I went there, but there was no program that you were working. And, to give you an example of when I was an assistant principal and I would expel a student, they went to, I think they called it RAPS in Alexandria, and they would say they expelled them for, I don't know, a 90-day period. At the end of that 90 days, I would get a call from RAPS, and they would either say, hey, student worked his program to this percentage, which means they are favorable for reentry, and they will come and we'll have a transition meeting, etc. Alternatively, sometimes I get a call and say, hey, they never showed up, or they did such and such while they were here, or they didn't progress academically. They are going to be here until they get to that percentage. So what Miss Ingram, Miss Pinckney, and that whole team has been doing is reimagining the alternative school to be a not only punitive as it should be, but also on that therapeutic side of rehabilitation is a better word, where they're actually working a program, they're structuring, and so I can tell you with confidence that that's going to be something that's going to be different moving forward. Now, in terms of policy with arrest, there currently isn't any policy that says we are arresting. There is Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ms.
It is
Ingram.
in the handbook. It is in the handbook that they they shall be arrested. Now, they shall.
What point will the arrest take place?
Ma'am.
What point will the arrest?
The principal has the discretion to arrest
Is it
anyone.
shall be or will be? Can be.
I'm looking and I'm reading, and of course, when it's when it's that time, you can't find it because we went over it in the meeting, and it was, a principal said, I want it to say they will be arrested. And
That's what your motion is will be.
It is on the page that you can arrest the student, so we did not change it.
Let's go back to last month and we can look it up.
I have it in front of me, but I can't find it because.
Well, if you go back to last month, Mr. Benefield, you can Command F, type in arrest, and find it.
Yeah, I just have it on paper in
Do
front
that.
of me. But the thing with we cannot, if the teacher was hit, that teacher has to press charges as opposed to us pressing charges. Now, they can be arrested for fighting. It's a misdemeanor. So then it becomes part of the court or juvenile things. From what I understand, it's the school's discretion. So we can say we do want them to all be arrested. However, then you have to make sure that they follow through with the protocol, that it's a true severe fight, and we're not just slap boxing and those students get arrested, right? So, it's still that we have to put some parameters on that too. But it is in here that they can be arrested. And
I
I'm going
think
to
your motion says will be.
Will be.
Ultimately, that's my first thought process. I would at least like for students to be detained and removed from campus as this is going on, because you have for example, I know we had the very last fight we had at Natchitoches Central, there were 3 boys actually fighting, several videoing, and then all those parents in the office at one time, which are taking up all of the administration's time, and then the rest of the school is just willy-nilly.
So the difficult part, I shouldn't say difficult, but the other variable in this is we can dictate what our staff does, but then the other entity being more than likely, well, depending on the school, the sheriff's department or the city, you know, I believe they have some discretion in what they will do. And then, but what we could, and I think their frustration is, I've heard them say at times that it undermines their authority because they arrest someone and then nothing happens. But then perhaps that is a conversation with the DA of, okay, we know there's not a location or whatever, but what are some things that, whether it's community service, I don't know what that would be.
Yeah, but what changed? What changed? They used to be arrested. In the past, they were arrested.
So the only thing, I just know there's been changeovers in leadership at all
with
three
the
of those
police,
entities.
right.
We have never said from this office people should not be arrested.
Right.
That's, you know, now that they'll call us sometimes and we really tell them like, hey, we didn't see it. I've never told someone not to arrest someone, and I don't believe anyone. Actually, Ms. Ingram, I don't know if they've ever. Do they call you about that?
Mm-mm.
Yeah. So I mean, I think I'd be the only one they'd ask, but typically a lot of that discretion's up to the SRO of what, you know, happened and if they believe it's arrestable. And I will say this, there is a lot of, within law enforcement, there's a lot of frustration about juveniles because of the lack of follow through and there not being that next step. It's not that they don't want to be partners with this, it's just their eyes are very open about the realities of what they can do and what the court system will or won't do after that. And that's not to blame the court system either. They're just as tied up as everyone else because
they're bogged down with all type of.
I don't see it. Can you help me with it? Here's
all types of different cases that some of them does not actually rise to the level of a kid being arrested, given a record, and the fact of the matter is, what needs to happen is there ought to be some accountability with the parents.
And there should
If
be
you
some
never get
intervention,
parents,
some intervention
I understand
in some
that, but
situations.
if you never
There's 2 of them.
have parents to be accountable for Junior's action, then the courts themselves can't do much, you know?
They can't. I think what Barbie's talking about too is like a teacher should never have to witness like a very violent fight occur and then have the students come right back to the class because that screams to them that they're not being supported, right? And that they have no control over the situation whatsoever. So, I mean, I think what she's asking for is just a way that we could have that removal like guaranteed, right?
And I can tell you, your 2 principals of the high school, both high schools, they are not against what y'all are saying.
Right.
I think the problem is going to be consistency of, and y'all, I mean,
Jennifer.
Who gets arrested and who doesn't get arrested?
Jennifer.
For
Page
fights.
30.
Fights are so, as we've talked about, dynamic and different and contextual.
Bottom third. It says,
Safe schools, yeah.
each participant is subject, goes on and sanctioned by sanctioned activity. Sheriff Department or city police will be notified of the charges. Each participant is subject to being arrested, handcuffed, and taken into custody.
That doesn't really mean anything though, does it?
Participants of violent behavior should not be allowed on school campus until the superintendent of schools or appropriate party has conducted a suspension expulsion hearing. It's unlawful for anyone to use, distribute, or any kind of weapons in statute. So,
What I would, and I know we've talked about the publishing of this document, but what I would actually suggest prior to changing the policy is to perhaps have a meeting of, and I know we love creating committees, but a committee of board members with the sheriff, with Chief Nikeo, and with the DA, and I mean, listen, they've been so good about truancy, and it's resulted in a better product. If we can all get together and you know, talk about what we're dealing with, they talk about what they're dealing with, and then try to come to some middle ground on it, I feel that would probably be more productive than us trying to figure that out in this meeting or even next week. Would you be open to that?
I am open to that. I just want us to make sure that we have some action moving forward for this next school year. The kids just, they feel like there's no, and I say that there's just too many fights, too many premeditated fights that bother me.
Now our high school is digital,
Right.
but June 10 is your drop dead date on this printing of this. Right?
It's a living document, so therefore, it can, I mean, we just add addendums, that type of thing. So, we can make it work. The hospital I just got another document. So it's an ongoing document. I mean, that's what it is, and that's the good thing about it being digital. And I don't have as many going to print that I have in the past. Not as many schools are wanting it in print, so that's better as well. So it'll be, you know, digital, and we can always say that. I can say that, as Dr. Eloy said, that with some of the changes and what we're doing with the alternative program, there is more accountability. The parents, we are looking into figuring out ways to incorporate the parents. The parents are required to come and do an intake with us. The parents, we do have reentry meetings, and they do have to meet certain criteria in order to go back. And they have to complete so much academics. They have to complete so many SEL lessons, which is social emotional learning. They have to attend so many therapy sessions, intervention sessions. They have to, they have progress monitoring, which basically means that I did my work today, I did this today, I did this today, I have to, you know, so they're gonna have a chart basically to say, yes, I completed all my assignments, yes, I was respectful, yes, you know, whatever their goals are. So if I went for fighting, then it's going to be, I kept my hands on my feet to myself. So they have all that. They're going to have, it's going to be more stringent than it was in the past.
And while I appreciate all that, I want to find a way to stop it before it happens.
Correct.
We have to be fearful of the consequence of what's going to happen if they throw their hands.
Right.
And
So that's where I actually think delaying this is a good thing. And the reason I say that is because, you know, we made a big splash with truancy, and I've said before that some of the results were just as much about the splash and making the publicly like that. If we can get with all those entities, and then not only do we add this kind of after the fact to the document, but I've talked about in July, late July, before school starts, sending this new policy out via letter to every family of a certain age, obviously, but to say like, hey, we are serious about it. And I think doing it in that way, actually, even though we didn't plan it this way, could be beneficial to us.
And also because of the grants that Dr. Eloy is asking us to write, I have to have a Safe Schools Committee, so that would fit.
Two birds?
Yes, two birds, please and thank you. So that would fit along with it if we could just wrap that all in one.
And I think it's important to include, I would say Mr. Stepp, Mr. Coleman, and Mr. Benjamin. Those are probably your three biggest folks for insight on this.
And I can tell you that we do have some things in place to try to circumvent them. We have with Mike, we have what's called Bark. So we know, like, when there's chatter on their iPads, they talk back and forth about they're going to get so-and-so or whatever. And so what it does is it filters for any type of harmful talk, whether it's self-harm or threat of violence, and that comes directly to my email. And so there's several fights that I've been able to prevent and send directly to the principal and said, I need you to go check this situation out, or I go check this situation out with the principal, and we were able to stop those fights before they happen because they're starting to brew and say, we're going to catch so-and-so.
You just need to encourage them to talk about it more.
Right.
Does that only go to you?
It does only go to me.
Is there a way to?
Is that overwhelming for you?
Yeah.
Is it overwhelming for me? Well, no, it goes to somebody else. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we don't want to go in public, yeah. Yeah, you're not supposed to, But we do have a filtering sits in place.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay,
Luckily,
so
not
my
many kids watch
question
our meetings.
is, because we've received information that concerns me from Ms. Dubois, as I spoke to her recently.
Right,
in
that's the
reference to all
safe,
the
that's,
Fighting
that's the safe,
junior high
that's a different thing.
this past year.
That's different.
What's
That's the self-reporting. There's a self-reporting app the kids have. That's,
That they can report.
Say something,
schools.
see something.
Yeah,
see
it's through
something, say
the
something.
state trooper.
It's through the state troopers. State troopers have an app that all kids have access on their iPads.
And then we also have the Rave app.
And we have the Rave app, yeah. So there's lots of other things in place to help us combat prevention.
So, you mentioned, we need Ms. Davis on that.
Yes, ma'am. That yeah.
She's with the
Yeah.
alternative school. And Chad mentioned about the alternative school, but they didn't have the resources that they needed to actually make it successful for these kids to understand, hey, you know, I know you just mentioned all the stuff they have in place, which is kind of new, right? They just kind of pull the programming together.
And the biggest thing happening is there's an ad out right now for a behavior specialist who would be working with Ms. Davis specifically. And we've had social workers and different counselors and stuff, but we've never had someone whose main objective was to change behaviors over there. And
I don't
she's
understand why, because you need a behavior specialist to change the behavior.
yes, ma'am. And so we've had some talks about, Miss Pinckney came to me yesterday, and there's some good thoughts on some really talented folks who could be in that position, who have a track record of changing behaviors. It's just not official yet. So
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was just, so your recommendation is to,
I would say create a committee. I'll get the school side people. Y'all decide who y'all want on this, and then we can. I'll contact tomorrow the DA, the sheriff, and Chief Collins, and we can get our people with their people, and hopefully maybe that first or second week of July, and we can come up with what this is and what's actionable, and that the hope would be that if there's any policy change, that's why that first week of July would be important. So we try to get it on the board agenda. Worst case scenario, we do a special called meeting if there's any sort of policy change.
Okay, who would like to be involved on that committee? All right, Ms. Harvey, Ms. Page, Ms. McGaskey.
I'll
And,
be on.
okay,
We have a quick turnaround in July 1 and 8.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to email tomorrow and try to get their schedules because
okay, so we have, I'm sorry, Mr. Harris, go ahead.
I don't know. I'm in the community all the time, and
No, she said, do you have a question?
no, I was just
I'm
talking
sorry.
about Miss Ingram. She probably knows most of the families and what the culture is like. Got fighters that, yeah, you can have the interventionists and things like that, but it's not going to happen overnight. Because if you've been told, you know, that if somebody hits you, you hit them back and all this different things, listen, you think you doing wrong if you don't hit them back. I'm going to whip you if listen, you know, some of us may not have been told that, but
so to that point, Pastor Harris, I agree with you completely, but I'm glad you said it because one of the things we decided this year too is moving forward to LP Vaughn, our youngest kids. We had Mr. Taylor's great, but he's one guy dealing with discipline over there. We've created a discipline team that includes a social worker, a counselor, and two assistant principals, and they will be meeting on a weekly basis with Miss Ingram. Is it you, Miss Ingram, or just rotating you in with Miss Ingram to look at interventions? So that way, by the time some of these 5-year-olds get to be 15-year-olds, perhaps we've changed a little bit of their thinking in terms of that type of mentality.
some of that stuff's systemic.
Agreed. Yeah.
And we're trying to look at that as well.
Yeah.
It's hard to break that cycle.
Some of them, understand, actually plan to fight before the end of the school year. And so it was so bad. It was so much fighting the last few weeks of school. It was planned.
We used
Do
to,
that for show.
we
I
used
think
to do
that's,
that.
that's part of what she's talking about. It's, you know,
They still have the consequences, and they carry over till next school year. So they're going to start off the school year at the alternative program.
Okay, so we've built a committee going forward, and then you'll communicate.
I'll probably email that entire committee tomorrow, in addition to those three gentlemen, and try to see within the first 2 weeks of July what dates are available.
Okay. Any other questions for Ms. Page?
Good stuff.
That concludes.
Okay, before we adjourn the meeting, I do want to mention for you to put on your calendars, the Back to School Expo will be Monday, July 21st, 4:30 to 6:30 at NSU Prather Coliseum.
what dates did you say?
That's Monday, July the 21st. And if you've ever been, it's an excellent community event. It's always so well attended. Hundreds and hundreds of kids and parents would love to see your faces there too.
Is it Prather this year?
Yes.
And Miss Jennifer's gonna make sure we get a backstage pass so we don't have to stand in that line.
I'll do my best.
Thank you.
Get early and do bracelets like I did last year.
That's right. If you come about 4, I can get you in early.
Okay, this meeting is adjourned.